My next guest hooked me up with a steak dinner and he didn't even know it because I bet the bag on him and he's joining me right now. His name is Mr. Rakim Cleveland, the boogeyman himself. Mr. Cleveland, welcome to my show. Happy to finally get a chance to meet you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to sit and chop it up with you.
Yes, sir. I first and foremost, when I think about you, I think about somebody who has a ton of experience, somebody who's been in this game for a very, very long time. A missing piece of the buildup between you and Edwards going into this fight, I felt was nobody talking about your experience.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's the first thing me and Jeremy and Adam and the guys at the gym kind of hit on. It was like, man, he was like, your experience alone um, is a big advantage, because I fought everyone. I fought the who's at a lot of different levels that have been on different levels, and yeah, they kind of looked past me. They looked for me to be um, a good debut fight for him to step up and weight, and we all knew it was a bad idea on our end.
Well, one of the things that I kind of circled is it was this matchup. Like, I was surprised that Edwards was going to be the guy for a few different reasons. Number one, the move to heavyweight for me, that threw me off for a loop. I was not anticipating that at all. And you coming off of your last bout, I'm sure when you were talking to your coaches and just your teammates, like you knew you were going to get a really tough fight. Like they aren't going to give you an easy fight for your third fight. Like they're going to give you an absolute killer. So I wanted to ask, like in the back of your mind, coming off of the Fortune fight, what did you kind of have a rough idea of like who it is that you might fight? Like, was there like a few names that you were anticipating, and was Edwards one of those names?
No, Edwards wasn't one of the names. We really we really didn't know. I was actually planning on, or we were planning on, me making a move back down to like heavyweight. So when Bellator gave me the call and asked me was I still available to fight at heavyweight, I said, sure, no problem. Who's the opponent? And they told me who it was, and we jumped right on it because we knew it was a great matchup for us stylistically and just overall. But yeah, man, tough fights is all I've been given with Bellator. I fought two top 10 guys, one top five guy right off the bat, and I don't think I'll get very many easy fights with my record and with my experience anyway. So we're always preparing for anything with open mind. So it is what it is, and I'll be ready.
You, Adam, and Jeremy, when you found out it was going to be Edwards, like what were some of the things that you were looking at when you were studying him? For me, to if I had to answer that question, I would say his athleticism. He's very athletic. He's very powerful, and he does, I feel, a lot of things well. But I'd love to get your take when you and your team were breaking this guy down and looking at the film. Like, what were some of the things that you saw about him that make him a dangerous guy?
Man, yeah, he's athletic. Um, Anything else other than his athleticism, he's a tall guy. He's long. He has a lot of range, and he's used his range pretty well in the past against guys that he had put away and beaten. And just the dynamics of his strikes and how he throws his strikes, and um, looking at how he moves and how he had put his other opponents away per se is kind of what we broke down to look for our openings in his game.
Did you feel right off the bat that you had a distinct advantage over him? Because when I think of you, I think about a guy that could do a lot of things well. I think people overlook your cardio. I think the biggest thing about you though is your striking. I don't think people really have a good grasp of like how quick you move and how powerful you are. Your striking is what stands out to me the most. And I was wondering, like heading into this fight, did you think you had a huge advantage over your opponent in the striking department?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it plenty of times. I feel like I'm one of the best strikers out there. Um, from light heavyweight on up, I think I'm one of the best strikers out there. And as far as being versatile with my strikers, with my striking, my boxing and my kickboxing, I think I can give anybody a run. I've been in there, like I said, with a lot of people, K1 champions, and even I made them even grapple. So I feel like I you know even after stuff like that, I feel like I'm one of the best strikers. Um, don't want to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm one of the best strikers in the world when I get myself going and going to my momentum. But as far as the spaces we looked at um, between me and Christian, we thought my grappling was way more advanced than his, as far as not wrestling per se, but just the overall grappling game. But you know, if he wanted to play jujitsu down there, we thought I'd catch him in a few different ways. But you know, when he did take me down in the first, he stayed heavy. His coaches wanted him to posture up and move around, and he was like, "Nah." So you know, he's smart on that behalf.
Yeah, absolutely. So the game plan, like going into your bout against Edwards, was it to kind of like test his cardio, test his endurance a little bit, and then go make it a grappling fight like toward the end? Or like did you guys have like a rough idea of what it is that you wanted to do going into it?
Oh, the rough idea of it was just kind of keep pressure on him. You
Mhm.
know, I thought I did a pretty decent job of trying to stay in front of him, trying to walk him down, corner him, and make him throw shots he didn't want to throw, and he ended up throwing some naked takedown attempts, which kind of caught me by surprise on the first one when he ended up getting me down. But just pressuring him, put him on his back foot, and using that to kind of make him tired. I was planning on leaning on him a little bit and maybe even taking him down myself, but he did that work for me as far as closing the distance.
The first 5 minutes of that bout elapses. You sit on the stool. I know Jeremy's the guy that's doing most of the talking. Like, what is he telling you in between rounds? Like, I'd love to get your thoughts on what Jeremy was telling you, and then kind of what was going on in your mind. Like, was he basically what you thought he was going to be when after 5 minutes with him?
Yeah, for sure. He was a little stronger than I thought he'd be, especially putting on, you know, coming up in the weight class and putting on a little extra weight that he's not used to carrying. But for the most part, he kind of did what we thought he was going to do. We thought he'd try to close the space eventually and try to take me down, and we kind of game planned around that. But Jeremy was kind of upset with me because I gave him the takedown. I kind of went down easy. When I lost my balance, I didn't put a lot of effort into getting back up. But we talked through it, and I told him, I was like, hey, man, he was just trying to be strong down there, and I didn't want to burn a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Trying to force my way back up when he was just trying to be strong. I didn't take a whole lot of damage down there, so I was just riding it out. But he was more upset of, hey, man, you got no shitty takedowns getting in on you. You need to stop him.
Did you guys have a rough idea heading into the third round of the bout, like which way it was going? Did you have it one apiece? What were they telling you as far as score goes?
We thought it was 1-1. First round, of course, was his. He took me down early in the round. He rode the round out, and he landed some good ground strikes. Second round, we thought, you know, I got a good foothold. I stopped his takedowns. I stunned him a few times with some shots. I kept him off me. So we thought the second round was my way, and basically we just needed to get third round done and look for a finish. But the finish that I got, no, we actually planned it. We talked about it all week, and we're talking about how his lack of wrestling and how he's going to try to wrestle is going to leave his neck sticking out there. So Jeremy even called it that Monday. He's like, "Hey, that 10 finger choke's going to get him." Launch.
So I would love for you to walk me through how you were able to get that on this guy. In preparation for this interview, I watched this fight a couple of different times. I'm watching it in slow motion. I'm rewatching it. I'm still trying to like see all the things that you did to like set this up. But no one wants to hear from me. We want to hear it from the champ. So can you give me a breakdown of like how you were able to set this up?
Well, I tried to go for it a couple times. The first time he closed distance, I went for the guillotine, but it was more of just trying to stop him and trying to control him a little bit. I didn't really squeeze it.
Mhm.
But in the second round, um, he came in naked, and I tried to lock it in then. But Adam and Jeremy was like, "No, get off the cage, push him off." So I cleared out, and I threw a couple. I think I hit him with an uppercut and a hook when I cleared off for that. Um, but he kind of fell right into it in the third round. That last inside leg kick that opened him up, he shot that desperation shot. And when he ducked his head, it kind of fell right into the breadbasket. And when I wrapped him up and I was able to spin him, I knew I had him. He wasn't going anywhere. And I put that belly on his back, and when I sat down and started squeezing, I knew it was done. It was controversial for him, per se. He was trying to say he didn't tap, but whether he tapped or didn't tap, he was gonna go to sleep. So I had it locked in, man, and he wasn't going anywhere.
I looked at that, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about naturally, because I have to, because that's my job. I looked at all of this, and I'll tell you what I see. That's a tap. That's a tap. That's 100% a tap. He hit your hip. I saw it. You told the ref. The ref, breaks it up. The fight ends, and in the immediate first second, when you break and walk away, he's not mad because he knows. That's my
Yeah,
opinion. That's what I see. And then once everything sets in for him, then he's mad because I think he's just upset that it didn't go his way or he made a mistake and he knew he made a mistake. I'm not throwing shade at Christian Edwards at all. I think he's a great fighter, but that's what I saw. I'm like, okay, and now you're just mad that you got caught. That's what I see. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just saying like that's what I saw observing this.
no, yeah. I mean, he definitely tapped. Even Big John called it. If you listen to the commentary of the fight, but if you rewind before the hip tap, he tried to tap on the inside, but he missed.
Hmm.
And when he missed on the inside, he tapped me on the hip. And that's when I kind of looked at the ref like, hey, you gonna keep choking him or you gonna let me, let him go. But he definitely tapped, and he was upset about it. They were talking about trying to protest it or whatnot. But I mean, it's on camera, man. You can't deny it. Thousands of people saw it. Everyone's commenting on it and talking about it. It's definitely a tap. You just got to learn how to take that L and keep moving. He got a long career ahead of him. He's young.
And he's very talented. Did he say something to you like in the cage? It looked like he was like chirping at you a little bit as the
Yeah, he tripped a little bit. He was kind of upset. He was trying to tell everyone he didn't tap. He was trying to kind of argue it down. He even talked to me in the back. He was like, "Hey man, I didn't tap," and I was like, "Hey bro, you got to look at the film. You definitely tapped. It is what it is. Just keep it moving."
Hey, and props to you though. Like you went in there and you delivered on a performance that not a lot of people were giving you much of a chance. And just setting the table, going into this fight, your back was against the wall. Like you don't win this fight. Like there's a real possibility. Like they say, hey, thanks for playing, but kept 3 L's, man. Like we can't. Like we can't carry you on the roster with 3 L's in a row.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, like, as you were getting ready for this fight, like, was it that killer kind of be killed mentality that you had that, like, my back's against the wall. I need to go out there and I need to execute. I need to perform.
Yeah, we definitely went in there with that mindset. Like, hey, no matter how we get it done, we gotta get it done. But I said earlier in the week, I don't know how I'm going to do it, whether it's knockout or submission, but I'm going to get it finished. I'll put them away. We're not going to see the judges, and I did my job, and I was happy about the outcome. Could have been better, could have been faster, it could have been cleaner, but I was happy about the outcome. Kudos to my camp for putting me through everything they put me through to get me ready, and kudos to his camp for getting him ready because it was a good fight. But it is what it is. Kill or be killed, and we knew we had to come out with a dub to even stay relevant. So we got it done.
Well, hats off to you. You did it. And if there's one final question I had for you, it's simply this. Like, this is a game where you are going to encounter adversity at some point. Um, and you're a type of guy, you've been the A side, you've been the B side, you've gone on winning streaks, you've gone on losing streaks. Like, you've seen everything in this game. There's nothing about the MMA business that is going to surprise somebody like you who's been around it for as long as you have. And now it's an opportunity for me to try to extract some wisdom from you. And I'll try to do that by asking you, in your mind, what are some of the things that you have had to do either mentally, physically, or maybe it's a combination of both. Like when you've encountered that adversity and those questions start coming in your brain, like, do I have what it takes to do this at a high level? Do I have what it takes to compete against the best? Like, what are some of the key things that you've done in your life as a martial artist to break through that adversity and keep grinding?
The most thing is being persistent. Really, you got to be able to take it on the chin and keep pushing forward. Um, this is a very, very, very tough sport, tough lifestyle. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But I feel like just my sheer will to compete. I just feel like I know I can do it. So I'm not going to let myself walk away without accomplishing what I feel like I can accomplish, um, and falling short just by giving up. So I'm willing to take my beatings in the gym, go through what I go through with the coaches, let my coaches, tell me what I need to do, run my schedule, and just I'm still listening. That's the main thing. That was my 40th professional MMA fight, my 61st total fight, and I'm still learning. I'm still listening, and that's the main key. No matter how good you think you are, how accomplished you think you are, you have to keep listening, have to keep growing. The sport's never the same. If you don't develop with the sport, you're gonna get left behind. So that's my wisdom, and that's my words to all the young fighters out there. Persistency and keep developing, keep growing, and keep learning. You can learn from anybody. So just have an open mind.
Well, you went out there, you performed, and I think you've earned another big fight. And I have a couple names in mind that I want you to compete against, but I'd like for you to tell me, like, is there a name out there in the Bellator rankings that you see that you're just like, man, I really want to fight this guy?
Man, I really, really wanted a rematch with Fortune. That was my main thing. I didn't feel like I got a chance to fight in that fight. I got hit clean. Um, I feel like I was there. I turtled up a little bit, but all the shots that he were landing were mostly on my shoulders and arms. And Herzog called us to play into that fight. When you look at, you know, 2 weeks ago, he down there let someone get killed in San Antonio, who came back and won the fight. So the inconsistency in his calls is just kind of it's that thing that just kind of burns me up right there. But I'd like to rematch in that. Um, um, I mean, I'm down to fight anybody though. It doesn't matter who they are. I'm game. I'm down to fight.
I had two other guys written down for you to consider. You don't have to say anything. Davion Franklin is another one. That would be a good one. That's Edwards' teammate, so I like that. And then I like
He ain't
Marcelo.
no better than Edwards.
Sorry,
He ain't no better than Edwards.
I like Davion Franklin, and I like Marcelo Gom.
Hey, he's a good friend of mine. We trained together at Top Team for a while.
Oh, and that means you can't fight him then, unless they
Uh,
sweeten the pot a little bit.
you know, Marcelo, that'll be an interesting battle, man. He's a kicking machine.
A very
He's a
talented
kicking
fighter. Yeah, I like
he's
him.
a kicking machine. But friends fight each other. I mean, I fight my brother for the right money, so let's go.
Let's go indeed. I wanted to give you the final word, though. I know that there's a lot of people in your corner that make Team Boogeyman what it is. So if there's anyone that you'd like to shout out or thank before I let you go, sir, I'd like you to have that opportunity.
Yeah, man. I like to give a big shout out to my family, all my friends, my training partners at war. Um, my coaches, of course, they take time away from their families to travel with us to fights and whatnot, and put up with all the shenanigans. Most of all, I would like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to wake up and do this kind of stuff, healthy and strong still after all these years. I like to thank my sponsors, Menus and More. Um, Paris Valley Kia. Fighter Wife Just Designs, who makes all my fight gear and stuff like that. Check them out. I'll get your Boogeyman shirts and custom gear. Even if it's for family vacations, she hand makes everything. And I mean, anything you want, she can make. But I mean, that's pretty much it. But just everyone that's been in my corner from the beginning to still now, um, through the tough spots and all the good spots, still rocking with me. I appreciate the love, and on to the next, baby.